Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Red Dead Online and I'm bringing you another outfit guide. Today we're doing a much requested character, that being Cullen Bohannon, played by Anson Mount, from Season 1 of Hell on Wheels, a fantastic TV show about the building of the Union Pacific Railroad. And if you haven't watched it and you like Western themed things, I definitely recommend the show. I guess most people would probably depict it as gritty and realistic, but really it's just very entertaining Western entertainment. So I definitely recommend checking out if you haven't, and there are actually 5 seasons of it, so it's definitely worth a watch. But with all that in mind, we're going to be imitating Cullen Bohannon. Now, he wears obviously multiple different outfits throughout this season, but they're mostly just variations of the same outfit, so like he'll have on a different jacket or a duster or something like that throughout the show. I'm just going to be making the core outfit. So as usual, we're going to start it off with weapons. So we're actually going to take the Navy revolver for his handgun. And now there's 2 different styles that you can do here. So this first one I've got here with the browned barrel, cylinder, hammer, and trigger, and then the brass trigger guard and frame, is my attempt to imitate his Griswold and Gunnison revolver. It was a Confederate-made sidearm used basically only in the South during the Civil War, and it was very distinctive, and he uses this in the pilot episode. And this looks pretty dang perfect for it. I mean, if you wanted to make it a little bit darker, because this is pretty dark in the show, you could replace the brown steel with blackened steel, and it would look like this, which I think looks pretty much like a stock Navy revolver anyway. The only difference is his Griswold and Gunnison, the loading lever in the front on his is actually, it matches the steel of the barrel. It doesn't go with the frame. So it looks a little bit different, but this is pretty dang close to looking exactly like his Griswold that he uses in the first episode. But he doesn't use that gun throughout the whole show, so we'll show you the other one too. So for the rest of the show, Cullen Bohannon actually uses a Colt 1860 Army. And obviously we don't have that in the game, but if we use the Navy revolver, we can try to imitate it decently well. And I think I have here. So basically, I went with blued steel for the barrel, the cylinder, and the trigger, brass for the trigger guard, and brown steel for the hammer and the frame. Now the hammer and the frame, it's supposed to imitate the color case-hardened look of basically the standard look for the Colt 1860 Army, which is what he uses. So you can see on his in the show, he actually has case-hardened and then blued. So two-toned case-hardened and blued look to his 1860 Army. And this is pretty close to looking like that. You could maybe make it look a little bit more authentic by adding some engraving onto the frame and making that maybe blued or blackened steel to kind of offer a little bit of color to the brown steel that I'm trying to use to imitate the color case hardening. But honestly, I think this looks decent enough. So like I said, you could either go with the Griswold that he used in the first episode or the 1860 Army that he uses for basically the rest of the show. So that's the handgun, but he also uses one other gun pretty frequently, so let's take a look at that. So then the other gun that he uses throughout the show is a Winchester Yellow Boy repeater. And so that's what we're going to be imitating here. So basically you just take the Lancaster repeater, you give it blackened steel for the barrel, the hammer, and the lever, iron for the sight, and then brass for the trigger and the frame. And it looks pretty much perfect, almost exactly like his does in the show. I use a dark walnut or mahogany finish for the wood because his is pretty dark and that's standard, for what it looked like back then. But if you want to imitate that repeater that he actually uses in multiple episodes in the first season, then this is definitely the exact way to do it. And it costs 10 gold bars, so, not super cheap, but also not crazy expensive. So definitely a look that I think is well worth going for if you really want to roleplay as Cullen Bohannon. So here we have my full outfit for Cullen Bohannon from Season 1. And now it's obviously not perfect because there's a few things that are pretty hard to imitate, but this is actually pretty dang close. So like I said, there's going to be a lot of variation in what he wears throughout this season, mostly in the form of whether or not he wears a jacket. There's one jacket he wears that's kind of a gray, maybe a little bit less than knee length, looks pretty nice. And then there's also a duster that he wears in multiple episodes. Honestly, I just went with the vest version because I think it looks the most iconic and he wears it in the most episodes, like more scenes than anything else. He's wearing an outfit that looks pretty much exactly like this. So with all that in mind, we start with the hair. He has a longer kind of slick back hair and it's brown, much like everything. And then I went with the Reverend beard. His is a little bit shorter in the show, but we really don't have an option to imitate that. And so I made both of those the same color, but that's the facial hair that I went with. Now for the hats, there's quite a few options that will work, but honestly, I think the Row Barrow hat, this one that was added with Quick Draw Pass 2, is definitely the best option. Now, if you're watching this after Quick Draw Pass 2 is over, or you missed it, or you're not interested in those passes, so you didn't participate, and you can't get this hat, then the Black Stalker hat or the Black Drifter hat will work, because they have the same basic shape. But honestly, the Row Barrow hat is pretty much perfect. It's got the right like thickness to the brim. It's exactly the right shape. It's got the little band around it. It looks basically perfect. Almost exactly like the hat that he wears in the show. So that's why I went with the Robaro hat. Now with the vests, I went with this kind of plain gray variant of the paisley vest. If you look real close, you can see it's got some patterning on it, but mostly it just looks gray. And I went with this one because it was the only one available that even kind of looked like the one he wears in the show. So the one he wears in the show is kind of a little bit more darkish, blackish, or maybe brown. It's got kind of what looks like a tweed pattern on it. So it's not something we have in the game, so I really couldn't imitate it very well. I considered some of the Lancer vests, but I think this one has the best shape. So it looks basically the same. The color's just off a little bit from the one that he wears in the show, but that's why I went with this one. This variant of the traditional vest is also a contender. I considered going with this one because even though it's not the same pattern, it's got roughly the right color to it. I guess kind of. His is a little bit more brown in the show, whereas this is a little bit more kind of grayish, real light brown, maybe dark or light black or something. Hard to say. But this one would also work. I just think that the paisley vest that I chose looked better. So that's why I didn't use this traditional vest. Then for the shirt, I went with this gray variant of the collar over shirt, and I opened the collar and rolled up the sleeves because that's what he looks like in the show. Now, obviously in the show, he's wearing long underwear under his shirt, which he wears under his vest. He wears a lot of layers. And the long underwear would look most like the white Union shirt or the Lotnip shirt. I didn't mean Lotnip. I meant Rexroad shirt, this one here. That looks the most like his bottommost layer, but honestly I think it makes more sense to go with the layer that he wears directly under the vest. And so again for that, like I said, I went with the gray overshirt, rolled up the sleeves, and popped the collar open. So that's the shirt. For the gun belt, I just kept it simple because he's got a plain black gun belt with only one holster, so I went with the agency gun belt. I think it looks the best. He doesn't seem to wear a belt buckle, so I didn't put an extra belt buckle on it, so that is the weapon equipment for this outfit. Now the pants were a little tough because there's the ones he's wearing in the show are obviously padded kind of saddle pants, so they've got the inner leg and crotch area has a extra canvas lining on it, and there are some options in the game that look like that, but not any that matched the pattern very well. He wears a kind of dark gray with lighter gray pinstripes looking pants, so that's why I went with this variant of the cuffed town pants. I think they look pretty dang good. They basically are perfect for matching what he wears in the show. So that's why I went with these pants. The boots were a hard part because when you look at a picture, the picture that I based off of is him when he's first getting off the train at the beginning of the episode. You can clearly tell that he's got lighter brown boots. He wears them Texas style, so his pants are tucked into them. But it's hard to tell if he's wearing a Western style cowboy boot with half chaps over top of it or if he's wearing a lace-up boot. I went with the lace-up boot because I think this looks the most like what he wears in the show, and also because I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be military surplus boots, and I know that the lace-up boots were decently common in the Confederate Army, which is where he served before the show takes place. So that's kind of why the logic behind this. He does not appear to wear spurs at any point during the show. I don't know if I just missed any of those stills or, am misremembering it, but honestly, I didn't remember him wearing them, and that also supports my theory about him wearing these lace-up style boots, because they would be less common to be seen paired with spurs. So that's why I went with these boots. I think they look as close to being perfect for the outfit as any boots in the game. So like I said, that is the outfit in its entirety, and I actually really like how this one turned out. It's not absolutely perfect. Like I said, I go back and forth on the vest. I think the argument can be made that this variant of the vest probably maybe looks even better, but it's hard to say. But that's actually where we're going to end this episode today. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you were looking to dress up like Cullen Bohannon from Season 1 of Hell on Wheels, that this guide was very, very useful. And honestly, like I said, I think it turned out pretty dang good. And even if you don't watch the TV show, I think you'll agree, it's a pretty cool looking outfit. Definitely fits kind of maybe even a lawman, but more of a hired gun or maybe even a cowboy. I don't know. It's a very versatile outfit. I just really, really like it. Obviously, if I was designing it just for common use, I'd probably put on 2 holsters instead of just the one like he uses, because he doesn't ever appear to use 2 handguns at the same time in the show, but I usually do in the game. But with all that in mind, thanks for watching. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, recommendations, or anything you'd like to see from history or TV shows or movies or anything like that, please let me know down in the comment section below, because I really like trying to create things like this. And if you like this video, definitely leave a like rating to show me and everyone else that it's a good video, well worth watching, helps me in the algorithm and all that stuff. And of course, lastly, if you haven't already, I definitely ask that you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you like my content, because that way you can stay up to date on all the content I release daily for Red Dead Online and other games such as this one. You know, they fit the same interest base. So it's definitely a good channel if that fits your interest. Plus, you'll be able to help me reach my ultimate goal of 30,000 subscribers by September and 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know it's lofty goals and seems unrealistic for a channel of my size, but I like to shoot high. So that's where we're going to leave it today. Hope you enjoyed this video, but in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.